I think that pretty much every single circumstance, it's always a bad idea to make characters that are not conventionally attractive.
Agreed.
What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the boundlessly boisterous Dr. Disaster, and it has been amusing as hell to watch these big corporations come to terms with reality over the past few years. Back in 2019, during the height of woke insanity, this was the ad campaign that American Eagle used to sell their jeans.
God damn it, I'm not fat. I'm just shamed for my body in a world where white men decide what's beautiful.
Needless to say, that ad did not seem to work. But of course, this ad here with Sydney Sweeney has lit the internet on fire to the point that now it looks like The Gap is following suit and trying to emulate American Eagle's success. After their last quarterly earnings report at The Gap, which you can see right here, they lost 25% of their value on the stock market, which you can see that it tumbled right after there. So The Gap went ahead and put out this ad here a week before their next quarterly earnings report with an ad campaign that they're clearly hoping builds on the Sydney Sweeney Great Jeans ad. The tagline for this ad is "Better in Denim."
Ah, so you come crawling back.
It has been funny watching these businesses getting slapped by reality these past couple years, and in the gaming world this year, one of the studios that has been slapped pretty hard by this reality is Bungie. They've been about as obsessed with this disgusting looking LGBT crap in Destiny as anyone in the industry, and they thought they could use these androgynous looking Concord-like character designs in their upcoming Marathon game. But just like with these fashion companies that tried to push this crud, the market had a different idea as to what these characters looked like.
You're the ugliest thing that's ever lived.
The reception to Marathon was so piss poor that the game was pushed back until next year, and by now, after the Concord debacle, I'm wondering whether or not Sony will allow the game to even be released. But the cherry on top of the Bungie turmoil sundae is this right here. The CEO of Bungie just stepped down. Naturally, they're doing that thing where these corporations are pretending that this was all voluntary. But behind the scenes, after all these squandered resources on both Destiny and Marathon, you just know what Sony's message was to this guy.
Get the hell out of here.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, I've started uploading some content onto Rumble too, so make sure that you follow Dr. Disaster over there, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster1. But let's talk about this news right here. This article is from PC Gamer. It tells us longtime Bungie CEO Pete Parsons announced today that he's stepping down from the role, saying it's the right time for a new beginning at the Sony-owned studio. He will be replaced by Justin Truman, formerly the studio's chief development officer, who Parsons said has been instrumental in bringing some of the most memorable moments in Bungie's history to life. And I just always find it amusing when these big corporations try so hard to save face for everyone, making it sound as if this guy voluntarily stepped down, but nobody believes that shit, not at all. Sony pushed this guy out, there's no doubt about it. Destiny 2 has been failing for years now, immediately after Sony bought them, and Marathon looks like a total catastrophe. This is what happens to CEOs when their company performs like this. This is the equivalent of the Gap seeing their stock price collapse and then desperately trying to capture the Sydney Sweeney energy. Sony is trying anything to get their studio's mojo back. But the article then says, Parsons had a long career at Bungie. Beginning in 2003, while it was still a part of Microsoft, he rose through the executive ranks over the years, helping shepherd both the Halo and Destiny franchises before assuming the CEO role in 2016. But 3 years after helping to secure Sony's acquisition of Bungie for $3.6 billion, he's pulling the ripcord on his time at the studio. And I will note that right after he took over as CEO back in 2016, you've got to think that the original Destiny had already been released for a couple of years at that point, and the Halo days were long behind that studio. So really, the only thing that this CEO managed to do during his time overseeing the company was to take Bungie at the height of its power and to run it completely into the ground. For reference, this is the same guy who was criticized for spending millions of dollars on classic cars while his employees lost work, so he's no stranger to bad optics. Clearly, he just does not understand optics at all. He's the typical limousine liberal, sipping on champagne as he's talking about the evils of capitalism, but even with an idiot like that in charge for the last decade, it's hard to believe that Bungie is here now after being a studio that dominated the gaming landscape in the 2000s and the early 2010s with Halo and then the first Destiny game. It seemed like Bungie could do no wrong. Unfortunately, this became a studio that embraced the ever-living hell out of the woke movement. They bought into it hook, line, and sinker, and it has cost them dearly. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of things wrong with Marathon, and not all of them have to do with how progressive it is. The fact that they were planning on charging $40 for a game with no campaign mode and a multiplayer mode with only 3 maps, that is astounding. But ultimately, the worst problem, in my view anyway, is what the game looked like. And I don't think I'm alone here. I don't think anybody wants to play as Marathon characters. I mean, look at these things. They're gross. The marketing for this game was absolutely trash because, of course, the characters in a game are actually a key part of the marketing in it. Asmongold was absolutely correct in his assessment of the game a few months ago.
I think that pretty much every single circumstance, it's always a bad idea to make characters that are not conventionally attractive. Because this is, again, this is a shooter game, and shooter games are going to be primarily played by men. So if you're making a shooter game that's primarily made for men, then you should make sure that all of the female characters in the game are fuckable. And I know this might sound crazy to say, but I'm just going to say it. That's what you should do. That's what you should do. Because that's what people want to do. That's what girls will cosplay. Girls don't want to cosplay ugly, weird-looking, androgynous, creepy characters. And all of that, like, think about how much advertising Marvel Rivals gets because of how many girls try to cosplay the characters.
Now, some people may not like this truth, that in order to succeed when making a shooter like Marathon, you really need to make sure that the characters are appealing to the male audience. And that's okay, you don't have to like it. Nobody is asking you to enjoy that fact. But reality is asking, not so gently, that you come to terms with it. This now former CEO of Bungie oversaw a studio that leaned heavily into LGBT crap instead of the things that the young male audience wants, and he leaned into androgynous looking characters, which of course come courtesy of the T part of that LGBT acronym. But as much as these people don't want to admit it, that sort of activism, that sort of mentality, it is not something that young men, the primary players of shooters like this, but this stuff holds no appeal to them. They just don't care. In fact, young men play shooters to get away from that crap. This stuff, like Marathon, is supposed to be an escape from the real world. So when these game studios take the exact sort of things that young guys either don't care about or actively despise, and they throw it into their hobbies like a stick of dynamite, well, of course the game rapidly lost players in its alpha, and of course people stopped talking about it. Maybe a new CEO can salvage what is left of Bungie's reputation, but that's going to be pretty tough at this point. In any case though, I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of Bungie into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.